We are live on College Band Radio, all college band, all the time. Welcome back, everyone. Obviously, I'm your host, Alex. Jason, Hannah, and Craig are here to start this off. Everyone say hi. How y'all doing?
Hi, how y'all doing?
No, not that. No, Jason.
I guess this is how we're starting.
Okay, how are you guys doing this week?
I am doing lovely on this fine Sunday evening, just living the dream.
Living the dream, Jason. How you doing? How you feeling?
I sprained my wrist.
Oh God, what the heck?
No.
You didn't tell us about this earlier.
It's not even like a brace. It's just the hand wraps that I use for boxing. So it's just wrapped.
Well, I hope
Hopefully that's okay.
I was gonna say, I hope it's okay. Craig, how's Kansas City?
The Chiefs lost today. Frankly, I'm a little indifferent to them because I'm a Giants fan, but I mean, that makes it so much worse.
That's all good. But yeah, welcome back to our second episode. We're going to talk all things college band Greek life. So band sororities and band fraternities, things of that nature. But first, let's dive into some news. Kind of the first thing that we're planning on discussing is what's the deal in terms of stadium capacity, college stadium capacity. I guess some big news that's coming out. So in the state of Florida, Governor Ron DeSantis allowed the Miami Dolphins to have a full capacity in their stadium. That's also the home stadium for the University of Miami Hurricanes, who play in the ACC. And after the Florida-Texas A&M game, the Florida head coach, I think his name is Dan Mullins, he basically said that he wants the Florida stadium to be at full capacity for the next game, which I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about that, but I don't really think that's a good idea.
I have a lot of thoughts, honestly. Looking at COVID numbers around the country, especially as we've seen in recent weeks, examples even in the highest levels of government, what happens when you get lots of people crowded close together, even when you're outside. I know everybody wants fans, everybody wants that vibe, but it's not worth it. It's not going to happen right now in a safe way.
And I get, I want fans there, but also the coaches and players aren't the ones that are actually at a higher risk having them there because they're not interacting with the fans. They're not in the crowds. It's just it's basically saying I don't care about you. I just want your bodies in the stands. I just want it loud.
Yeah, that's a really good
And
point.
honestly, if I were a fan of Florida, I'd be a little insulted. Be like, yeah, I mean, I want to be there. I want to be there to support my team. But on the other hand, you literally just want me to be a body in the stands.
That's a good point.
Does
I
that
didn't even
mean
think about
that,
That's a very good point.
the band is going to be there? The whole band is going to be made to be there?
I think that the band's already there. I don't know if it's there in full or in reduced capacity, but I know that the band is there in some capacity. And they did have reduced capacity last game. I'm highly doubting that they're going to go full, but DeSantis is a very interesting character, so honestly, he could okay that and let them go full, which, for those that don't know, that's about 90,000 people.
That's just, honestly, no insult meant to any of these people, or maybe a little insult, I don't know. That is the worst idea I have ever heard. That is a recipe for a hot mess express of disaster, and I cannot ever condone that.
Slightly.
As a student on campus, even if you don't go to the game, say your roommate goes, or a bunch of other people on campus are going to go, I'd be pretty upset just because even if I choose not to go to the game, I'm still being put at risk.
Yeah. So I guess on top of that, some colleges, not all colleges, but some colleges are having fans in the stands, and we have seen a lot of scenes of people not wearing masks at certain things. And I know one of them was the Red River Showdown, the Texas-Oklahoma game, which I know Hannah wants to talk a little bit about because it was a huge game, and there might have been a golden hat involved. So
Someone saying
hat?
Golden hat?
Yeah, for those that don't know, the winner of that gets a golden hat, and yeah.
And Hannah won?
Hannah also has a golden hat. Hannah won.
I won the Red River Showdown this year.
And she's already tricked it out with the UNI logo, so it was very, very quick.
Sorry, Texas and Oklahoma, who?
They could only hope that their gold hat could be as cool as mine.
That's a true statement. But I was curious, so from what you've seen, and then also we can talk about how, I think it was 2 weeks ago, the SMU student section got completely kicked out because they weren't observing social distancing or wearing masks. And there was a really, really good photo taken that has kind of circulated around the college sports world, indoor sports world in general, with a bunch of students just like limbs flying all over the place just after a touchdown, just beverages being thrown in the air, no masks, no social distancing. So I wanted to get everyone's opinions as to just what they've seen so far with fans observing and or not observing the mask and or social distancing code.
I'm not surprised they got kicked out. I knew some student section somewhere was just going to ignore guidelines. But it's been interesting because I know Iowa State had fans in Jack Trice for their last game and the game before that. And I had friends who went, like, everybody was masked up. Everybody had to stay distant. So I think it comes down just to how different schools have handled it, which I think has been interesting.
Having college sports isn't a right. And especially being able to go to them during a pandemic, it's not a right. It's a privilege. And I think if you're not going to follow the regulations, you don't deserve the privilege. So yeah, if you're going to go and you're supposed to be wearing a mask and staying apart, and you're acting like the SMU students were, kind of makes sense to say, well, you're done, get out. Like, I don't know. I may get some flack for that, for saying, if you don't follow the rules, you don't get to enjoy the games. But
yeah, I'm right there with you.
I feel like it's to be expected. Like, I wasn't expecting like the entire stadium to follow the rules, to be honest.
yeah,
So I'm not really shocked or anything. I'd honestly be more shocked if like the entire stadium was like actually had masks on the whole time and actually practicing social distancing. So I wasn't really like that shocked, to be honest.
I mean, I wasn't really shocked. I mean, it was bound to happen. College kids, were not exactly the most responsible all the time. But sometimes you need to use your noodle a little bit more.
Yeah, I know that one thing my band director says sometimes is play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yes.
And in this case, I'd say the student section played a stupid game and won a stupid prize that resulted in them getting kicked out of the game.
That's a good point.
I really like that saying.
Dr.
I
Mertz.
really like that saying.
So from that, I want to talk a little bit about college football. So for those that didn't see last week, we are going to talk about the Red River Showdown, a great matchup that literally broke Gus Johnson for those that were watching it. Like, he got to the point where after Oklahoma missed the kick in the third OT to win the game, he just started saying random words. Like, he didn't even start. He was like college football, Fox Sports, Oklahoma, Red River. Like, he was absolutely broken because I don't.
I'm sure everybody has had that friend who wanted to be a rapper, but like they got their buddy who, doesn't know what they're doing to do like the ad libs and like the fill-ins, and so you're just hearing that part. CBS, Fox Sports, Oklahoma. It was just listening. I was like, what? What is he saying?
It's just like the background noises on a Travis Scott song, but like sports related.
Yeah,
that's the best way to
That's
describe
exactly
it.
what I was thinking about.
Speaking more, I guess the game of the week, if we want to call it that, was the Texas-Oklahoma game. Anyone, if you guys watched the game, what were your thoughts about it? I know Hannah's got the hat on.
So I will just say, like, watching that kicker miss that, I think it was the third overtime.
Yeah.
The Oklahoma kicker missed the field goal. I mean, it ended up being okay because they ended up winning. But, like, that's just got to be so sucky as a kicker to miss, like, that one. And it wasn't even, I don't think it was that even bad of a field goal either. I think
it was like a 30-something. I think it was like a 39-yard.
I mean, like, I probably couldn't kick it. But, like, holy cow, like, that's got to suck so bad.
Yeah.
Props to his teammates for keeping him up, though.
You have to also think about the toll that takes on the athletes. They're expecting to play 4 quarters of a game. One overtime, all right, you know what? They're hyped. The adrenaline's kicking in. But I'm sure by overtime number 3, overtime number 4, you're just tired. Like, I feel like if I were that kicker, I'd be like, yeah, of course I'm gonna start missing kicks. If you're kicking that many field goals, like if you're just working for that long, you're going to get tired, you're going to get exhausted, and you're going to slip up. You're going to make a mistake. So, like, I don't give him any shade for missing that kick. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
If he'd made it, maybe they wouldn't have had to go into a fourth overtime, but
do be like that sometimes.
I do want to say Annabelle's Mizzou Tigers upset LSU, the defending national champions. LSU basically had a shot to win it at like the 1 yard line with like 4 downs to do it, and they didn't convert on any of it, which is, I mean.
But I mean, huge shout out to the Mizzou defense. I mean,
honestly,
on that 4th down pass, just the coverage was fantastic. I mean,
I do agree. Really good coverage on that. One last thing about football before we go into the rest of our news. Quickly, I asked all of you, what is a like a sleeper team or like a team to watch out for the rest of the year that maybe not everyone's talking about. So Jason, do you have a team?
I guess for the rest of the year, I could say our team, the Purdue Boilermakers, because we have a very strong receiving core now. Especially since Rondale's back. We have the 2 of our receivers were the 2 most recent Big Ten freshmen of the year. So better watch out.
Boiler up, hammer down? Question mark?
Yeah, as long as your quarterback can get them the ball, I'm sure.
Yeah, we got enough quarterbacks now. We can go through like 6 quarterbacks and we'll still be okay.
Hannah, I think I know what yours is, but for the people, what's your team?
My sleeper team is definitely going to be Iowa State, just because, like, losing against Louisiana, that was a really bad start to the season, left kind of a bad taste in everyone's mouth. I feel like every year we go through this thing, we're like, oh, is Matt Campbell, like, really worth the hype? Like, what's going on there? But then they had 2 really good games against Oklahoma and Texas Tech. So, like, I feel like they're going to be ones to watch out for as we get later into the season and they get back into their rhythm. Also love the ISU marching band. I'm not going to try and recite their acronym because I know I'll say it wrong, but love to you guys. You guys are great.
I feel like Hannah really likes teams that have mascots that are just spinning whirlwinds.
I agree. I'm going to have to agree with that one.
That's a hot take. We will figure that out soon. Craig, what is your team?
So I'm gonna go with Ole Miss. So I know they're not the best team in the world. They're all right. They're, in my opinion, a pretty middle of the pack team. But just the way that they fought against Alabama, it showed that they're not a bad team. They're not a top tier team. If you're expecting them to be, the sleeper like national champion, no, that's not what you're gonna get. But you're gonna get a team that's gonna fight, and a team that's not gonna give up in 4 quarters. If you're just looking for a team to watch, I think that's definitely where you're going to find it. So, yeah.
Their light blue uniforms are also awesome. I love that color. Mm-hmm. All right, Alex, who's your sleeper team?
Yeah, so my sleeper team, I know we dogged a little bit on the SMU student section, but the SMU football team, the Pony Express, Pony Up, they're back. They are ranked 17th right now. Shane Buechele is a dark horse Heisman candidate and has been for the last 2 years. It's a very good team. For our last part of the news segment, Hannah, I know that you did a lot of in-depth investigative work about this. So, what is the last part of the news segment that you really wanted to focus on, kind of?
So, kind of the big thing right now going on in college basketball is the news that kind of broke about Greg Marshall, who's the head coach at Wichita and has been for some time now, or at Wichita State, excuse me. So, what's kind of going down with him is he's been accused of like verbal, physical abuse, which is actually not something anybody is super surprised by that's familiar with their program. Like, he gets super aggressive, like with his own players, and is yelling at them. So kind of a big sign that something was amiss even before this all came out is that last season they lost 6 scholarship players and 1 walk-on after a 23-win season, which is huge. You never see something like that. And then you're kind of seeing there's a real lack of defense on social media and in any statements from former players and coaches, which does say a lot. I think kind of the key takeaway here is that there used to be this big kind of win at any cost mentality in college sports, and definitely the past, I think, even 5 to 10 years, there's been a big shift away from that as mental health. That's become a really big thing in sports, as it should be. So I think this is an example of kind of the end of an era for that style of coaching.
Yeah, definitely big news. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's definitely going to be, assuming that what the investigation shows that, he was doing all that stuff. I think that the penalties to the school are going to be just devastating for the program. But I mean, even if the investigation comes and says no, we found nothing. We found that he's doing absolutely nothing wrong. The program is still. I mean, first of all, the reputation is kind of shot. At least from an outsider's perspective. I mean, plus with all the players leaving, that's another just absolutely devastating move.
Craig, I did want to jump in here for a second quickly. Who was because this reminded me immediately, and I'm not trying to shine a bad light on any school, but
no, I know Rutgers had. I know the Rutgers coach was Mike Rice. And like the Rutgers team, I don't know how good they were back when he was head coach. Like when they got rid of him, the team absolutely was not good. The team suffered immensely.
I think the interesting thing too with college sports is, and even I'm sure professional level sports, is that a lot of coach behavior kind of like that will get swept under the rug so long as the team is good. Like if you look at Fran McCaffrey at Iowa, but since Iowa's program, especially right now, is so good, a lot of that is just going to get kind of hushed up. But I know that Wichita State, I don't believe, has made the tournament since 2017, which was their first year out of the MVC. So then you have Greg Marshall kind of in a situation where it's like, well, we're not doing so hot. There's nothing I can be like, oh, like, sure, the behavior's bad, but he's valuable enough to keep. Like, he doesn't really have a great case for why he should stay and why he should keep coaching basketball there.
I guess what makes me think of, like, this whole situation kind of makes me think of, like coaches that I've had in the past, and for some reason the movie Miracle, like, with Herb Brooks as a coach, and, like, but then I realized, like, there's a line between, like, being, like, a hard coach and a coach that, like, is an intense coach and gets things done through, like, intensity, and versus just straight up being just a bully and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and true, I mean, I think you can see lots and lots of instances if you look back over, historically throughout college sports, of abusive coaches. Like I think there's definitely been a cultural shift in sports, especially with players kind of finding their voice over the last couple of years, and just college athletes and professional athletes too, just being much more vocal on Facebook, Twitter. No, nobody uses Facebook anymore. But just the way the world is nowadays, that if the program is, if there's a problem with the program, if the players expose it, if there's a legitimate problem and the players try and expose it, likely the players are going to be the ones who end up winning. Yeah. I mean, I hate to use the word winning in a situation like that. I mean, I feel like
they'll believe them more than they'll believe anyone else.
Exactly. Because I feel like just the way the world is now, we're much more likely to listen to victims as opposed to the other.
Yeah. So I know this got a little bit serious, but it's important to talk about the serious stuff and the fun stuff in this podcast because we're trying to address everything. But that's it for news. Stay tuned, and we're going to get right into our main segment about college Greek life, or college band Greek life, sororities, fraternities, all that good stuff. So just stay tuned, and we'll be right back. And welcome back to our main segment of this second episode of our first season of College Band Radio. This episode, or this week, we kind of wanted to dive into the topic of Greek life within marching band, within just the band community. And today we have a couple people who represent the Kappa Kappa Psi fraternity. Savannah, take the floor, kind of introduce what Kappa Kappa Psi is, and introduce our special guest for today.
Great. So I'm a member of the Gamma chapter of Kappa Kappa Psi at the University of Washington in Seattle. We do a lot of service projects. Really, we're doing service to college bands. Really, that's a big overarching theme, obviously, of Kappa Kappa Psi as an organization. But I'm really excited to have guests here today. We have Nick Franks and Astrid Martin, who are both my brothers in Gamma, and I'd love to hear what they have to say about their experience. I'm looking forward to this conversation. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves, I'd love to make sure that you guys get heard and everything.
Well, I'm Astrid. I'm a third year at UW studying psychology. I'm the service head for the Gamma chapter of KK Psi at UW, and I play tenor sax in HMB. So.
And my name is Nick. I'm the Gamma chapter president at the University of Washington. I'm a music education major going into my third year of school, and I play alto sax in the saxophone section in the Husky Band.
But yeah, so I kind of really wanted to talk about both mine and my brother's experience in our chapter, and like how the presence of our chapter really affects our game day experience and our rehearsal schedules. So, you know, when I think about our chapter of KK Psi and KK Psi in general, like the role, kind of in my own words, I feel like it's obviously, you know, we call ourselves a brotherhood, we're brotherhood, and it's just kind of another level to band family on the social level. And so it's really good to go to rehearsal and see your brothers, and you're all there to, you know, make sure the band succeeds as much as possible. You know, you want to put your best foot forward, whether that be in like small things, volunteering to help set up or tear down rehearsal. It's really great to be like a part of that, and it really shows as a positive part of our band program, which I'm really happy to be a part of it. If you guys have anything to add to this, that would be great.
Yeah. You know, the fraternity is, like you said, to many people, a second family. It's a place where we go to not only bond over music, but also to give back to our communities. You know, whenever I think about Kappa Kappa Psi, my first thought is always just a leg for the band program to stand on. It's just another way to help support you know, what has given all of us such an amazing musical experience over our past few years, and we do a lot of different things to help out the band program in that regard. Yeah, it's a place where we bond and support our fellow musicians and have a good time while doing it.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many little things that is just amazing from being a part of KK Psi and Gamma in specific. Like, whether just seeing, like, your brothers during rehearsal and just seeing so many more familiar faces than just your section, and knowing, like, how much good you do for, like, the program that you're a part of. And, yeah, it's just a really positive experience overall.
Yeah, for sure. I really like when we have game days in particular, it's really great to get together with all of our brothers after the game. After every game day, we'll come together on the 50 and we'll all sing the hymn together. You know, and it's one of the little things that, you know, you can't really take for granted. It's just those moments that matter. But yeah, moving on, I really want to talk about the service aspect of KK Psi and what that role is in Husky Band in general. So do you guys have any favorite service projects you've been a part of, or any stories you want to tell about that?
So my favorite service project as being service head is definitely Junior Senior Day that we do with the Husky Band. It's the biggest service project, and it's very stressful to put together, but it's amazing. So what it is we invite juniors and seniors from high schools around the Washington area, and they come for the spring game for the football team. And they play with the Husky Band. Like, they get provided some of the songs, some of the normal stand tunes that we play, and the section leaders will, like, teach them the choreo and the songs beforehand, and then they get to go out to the spring game and get a t-shirt and play with everyone, and it's just so, like, everyone's so happy the whole time. And yeah, I went to it my senior year of high school, and it was what made me decide to be a part of the Husky Band, and obviously it was like the best decision I've ever made. But yeah, so that's my favorite. But
yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites also. And it's really cool that you mentioned that, because recently what we've been doing as a chapter is you know, given the virtual nature of the past few months in this country, it's been really a lot easier to help surrounding high schools rather than just the university, giving back to the greater band community, not even just within the university, but also helping out just the music educators in Washington. So one of the projects that we have lined up right now is creating like a virtual instrument petting zoo. I don't know if you guys have seen this video before, but I think it's the Air Force the Air Force Army Band that introduced the different instruments in the wind band to like an elementary school, middle school audience. And doing something like that, but maybe in a live setting or pre-recorded. We haven't quite worked out the details yet, but it's just another way that we like to give back. And I think it's one of the things that being online has made easier for us. It's reaching everyone within the greater community.
When we normally have like games and everything pre-COVID, Gamma, we would make little snack bags, so away band snacks, and we would pack up like just little snacks, and brothers would go over to the visiting band and give them these snack bags just as like a little, hi, welcome, here's some food. And that was always really fun, and that way you could kind of meet really quick the other members of the band. But yeah, that was another fun one.
I've had a good experience with the snack bags too, not even just at UW. I went to the Oregon State football game last year, and their chapter is Theta, I believe, the Theta chapter, and they made snack bags for our visiting band, and it was just really cool because, you know, maybe we didn't get the time exactly to hang out or like get to know each other because, you know, game days are busy, but, you know, some of them include like their Instagram or their Snapchat if you want to reach out, you know, and it's just the little things that really create the bonds. So, and like that really in particular sticks out to me when I think of relationships between, you know, college band programs, college marching band programs, and even like different chapters of Kappa Kappa Psi, because we have ways to connect to each other, Facebook pages, group chats, you know, and conferences where one chapter will host another or a handful. Yeah, and it's the little things like that where it doesn't always have to be some big travel thing that gets you introduced to people of different chapters and different bands. It's just, hey, reach out to me, you know, like here's some fruit snacks and my Instagram, you know, if you ever want to talk. And I think that's really great. That's something I really value about it.
Savannah, I did have a question, because I think that I guess for me as someone who's kind of an outsider when it comes to Greek life, especially within band, could any one of you three kind of best describe what it just kind of what Kappa Kappa Psi is for someone who isn't involved in it? Kind of, if you want to do like a basic description or more of like a more detailed thing for the listeners and viewers, just what would be the best way to describe it from any one of your perspectives? Great.
So, should I take the lead on that one? I'm sure any of us could give a good explanation of it, but Kappa Kappa Psi is an honorary band service fraternity. So it was founded for college band students. So that doesn't have to be just college marching band students. That's people in campus bands, wind ensembles, and our service projects also reach out there. So also to the School of Music. I'm just, for the time being, I'm just talking about the college marching band, like Husky Band. You know, you can pursue it if you're interested in giving back to either just your school of music or your community. It's something that I found really fulfilling, having done so many years of music, to be able to put together things, and it's all about giving back. I can keep saying giving back, but, you know, we have chapter meetings every week and committees where we'll get together and plan service projects. Yeah, and it's all really about that. I can keep saying that over and over again. But, you know, we're a brotherhood, and we all treat each other as brothers, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, but, you know, that's just kind of a summary of it.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to add real quick is one of the things that makes this organization, this fraternity, so unique is that it's co-ed. So one of the things that really brings together everyone is the opportunity to give back, no matter your gender, no matter your location, no matter how big your college band is or how small your college band is. It's an organization for everyone. I think if I have the numbers right, I think we have over 60,000 brothers who have been initiated since our founding in 1919. And there are over, I think, 6,000 or 7,000 current members, active members nationwide. And it's that sense of brotherhood that you were talking about, and fellowship and camaraderie that in a way makes us all like know each other, even though we don't like know each other.
Yeah, for sure. So for anybody watching right now, you might have noticed that Alex disappeared. Apparently his power went out, but I will just continue on without him. If you have any really fun stories or anything about things that we've done as a chapter or with other chapters, I'd really love to hear them. I'm sure everybody would love to hear them.
Last year when we went to the Vegas Bowl, Boise State's chapter, I don't remember what their chapter is.
It's Iota Kappa.
But I guess they...
Iota Kappa, yeah.
That one. Yeah, Iota Kappa. They gave us a potato, I guess. And our chapter president from last year, Baylor, he planted it. And now we have little baby potatoes from the potato that their chapter gave us. And I don't know, that's really random, but like silly and kind of an example of kind of what KK Psi is and our connection. I don't know.
It's kind of silly, but yeah. And I will point out, I remember at the Vegas Bowl, there was a previous alumni brother of Beta Omicron at Arizona State who hosted people from Gamma and from Iota Kappa, so from UW, and Boise State for dinner. I unfortunately wasn't able to go, but I think that's another really cool thing that definitely should be mentioned.
Yeah, I feel like whenever we travel as a band, we always find those opportunities to connect with brothers wherever we go, and that's like just really amazing to always know you have somewhere to go.
One of my favorite memories from recent years, it feels like a lot of band things are in Vegas, so this is another Vegas example. But 2 years ago at the Pac-12 basketball tournament, we met up with a few brothers from Oregon State, and we decided to meet up in the New York hotel to sing the hymn. So we found a little place in like the casino, and we made our circle and we sang the hymn. And just the absurdity of like being able to sing this really slow, insightful hymn in the middle of a big casino with flashing lights. It was a lot of fun. It was kind of weird. It was kind of absurd, but it was great that we were able to catch up and, you know, put rivalry aside and just be brothers for a few minutes.
Yeah, and I think it's important to mention also, like, for people listening that might not know, Kappa Kappa Psi is a national fraternity. It has chapters all around the country, but there's also national conventions, so there's a lot of opportunities to really, meet people of different chapters. Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to add? Anything you want to plug?
WDC 2021 being hosted in Seattle, Washington. We'd love as many brothers as possible to come by. So anyone in Kappa Kappa Psi on the Western District, if you're listening to this, stop by WDC in Seattle 2021. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, great. So, and if you're listening right now and you want more information about Kappa Kappa Psi as an organization, or maybe the Gamma chapter of Kappa Kappa Psi, I'll make sure to include some links in our description of our YouTube video and possibly the description of our Spotify podcast. But yeah, anyways, thanks for joining me, Nick and Astrid. Really enjoyed talking to you. I'm really happy that you guys were able to kind of share your experience about it.
All right, and welcome back to the second part of our main segment for episode 2. Obviously, we've already talked to a few members of Kappa Kappa Psi at University of Washington, so thank you to them so much for coming on. But now we are going over to the Tau Beta Sigma, which is the other large Greek organization, the co-ed sorority that has a very large presence around the country. So 2 members of Tau Beta Sigma here that we are going to talk to for a little bit and just kind of get to know them a little bit better and get to know how Tau Beta Sigma works. So for the viewers and listeners, if you want to introduce yourselves, either one of you can go first.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Bavlik. I'm the president of the Psi chapter of Tau Beta Sigma at the University of Arkansas. I play clarinet in the Razorback Marching Band, and I study industrial engineering with a data minor.
And I am Andrew Tate. I played tenor saxophone in the Marching Mizzou, and I'm the current chapter service chair for our Zeta Omega chapter, and I'm a physics major and my 5th year at University of Missouri.
Awesome. So, how would either of you best describe what Tau Beta Sigma is in its most basic form?
First thing that comes to mind to me is like our purpose statement, which says to promote the existence and welfare of collegiate bands and to create a respect and appreciation for band activities and achievements among the listening public everywhere. So promoting college bands and additionally promoting women in music.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, as my role as the chapter service chair, we actually have a Women in Music speakers event that we do every year typically, and definitely highlight voices of faculty and staff and professors at the University of Missouri School of Music and their particular story and whatnot. I definitely think our purpose for the band and its service is similar to Kappa Kappa Psi. We just do our respective own kind of sets of duties in a way to the marching and concert bands.
So I guess from that, in terms of like meeting schedule over the course of, I guess during the busiest time would be during the football season. How is it like? And then can either of you kind of describe how the game day experience is like from the Tau Beta Sigma perspective?
It's a bunch of fun. So the Psi chapter is really, really lucky to have a brother chapter of Kappa Kappa Psi Lambda who we're really close to and we work with all the time. Most of our game day duties we do collaboratively, especially loading and unloading trucks. One of the game day events that we always do is rolling out seat covers for our white bibbers and getting water coolers to every other end of row just to make sure everyone's hydrated. And sometimes those call times for us are at 4 a.m. Arkansas never has a great football schedule, so we can be there.
Noon kickoffs are the best things, right?
Sometimes, but being there super early and staying there late, and then just a blur of spirit and craziness.
Yeah, I could definitely attest to that similar experience. I think between our brother chapter, Kappa Kappa Psi, we really have kind of a division of labor. Like we do a lot of projects together for service in general. We just call it joint events, and we have our weekly meetings and whatnot. On game days, however, our primary purpose for Tau Beta Sigma would be to organize the uniforms, make sure everyone looks good and is ready to go. While Kappa Kappa Psi, on a typical day, they would be doing all the water jugs and trash cleanup after the games, and occasionally Tau Beta would help, and obviously like we all help each other.
Alyssa, I was curious, when are you going to bed at night to wake up at 4 a.m. call time for during a game day? Because I'm just really, really intrigued now.
Sometimes you don't sleep.
Oh, that's I don't like the sound of that.
All right, the friendly good answer would be like 8 p.m.
Okay, I was gonna say because like, oh man. So from that, I guess from there, I wanted to go into talking about kind of the service side of it and the service projects that you guys do, large and small. Are there any favorites that you have? Any interesting things that happen either just over the course of a season or during game days that you do?
Andrew, do you want to talk about Big Mo?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I was trying to think of something off the top of my head. Yeah, so if you didn't know, Big Mo is the biggest bass drum in I don't know, college sports. Maybe I don't know the.
Thank God Jason isn't here to debate that.
Yeah, so I'm as an alumni of Marching Mizzou and current member of Tau Beta Sigma. This is one of our joint projects we do with Kappa Kappa Psi actually, where both of us kind of show up on game days when those of us who are active members or conditional who are not in the marching band on that game day will basically host the drum. And what we do is like we have it in a certain corner of the stadium, and typically a celebrity will come by and initiate the game and do the first MIZCOU chants before kickoff. And that's kind of like our big tradition. And it was about, I want to say, over 10 years ago or so when Big Mo started being integrated into game day atmosphere and being like kind of big landmark on for Mizzou.
Wow, that's a really fun tradition. One of my favorites that we do throughout the football season is an event called Crescendo, where it's a musical youth initiative program where we go out into our community. Specifically, we usually go to a local high school and play with their high school band at one of their games. For example, last year we went to a local high school that had 50 members. And for comparison, there's about 50 clarinets in the Razorback marching band. So we were amazed to see all of the members of TBS and Kappa Kappa Psi and regular R&B members there supporting them. It's a really cool experience to see them excited about music and band. It just warms my heart.
I am curious, is supporting the local and youth music scene, especially at high schools and elementary schools, is that a big part of what TBS is?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's one of our national programs. For context, I think there's 5 national programs, one being Crescendo.
But yeah, no, that's a really, really important thing that you guys are so ingrained within the community like that. I think that's a really important thing for a lot of people, and I think that's a really good segue going into talking about kind of the national aspect of it. And I'm sure that you guys have experiences of meeting up with other members. I mean, obviously, we're doing kind of an impromptu thing right now of Tau Beta Sigma members from 2 different universities and bands meeting up for this, which I don't think that we planned, but I think it's really funny that it happened. But it is how would you describe kind of the interactions with other Tau Beta Sigma members at other bands and other colleges across the country? Are there different conventions and or regional things that you guys go to? Can you kind of go into a little bit more detail about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so game day specifically, we try and trade game day gifts. The most recent one Arkansas had with Mizzou, we got this license plate with the Mizzou Tiger on it, which was really, really kind. But aside from normal game day activities, we have conventions in both district and then national every 2 years, and workshops in between those times at different hosts throughout the states.
Yeah, that's basically our experience as well, especially with the gift giving. We actually still have that license plate from Arkansas hanging up in our little lair that we have when we have a uniform, or we store all uniforms. All of our storage is in that same little closet, I guess, or it's a big closet for that we normally use for game days. And yeah, other gifts we do for other schools. I can't remember ours to Arkansas, but it typically is some sort of banner or something that has all the signatures of all the members.
Paddles sometimes.
Yeah, paddles, things like that. And
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, one of the things, my favorite things is being from the outside is always going up to the TBS members and asking them what they got. And then if you ever go into the the little layer of the closet, you can see them all hanging up. So that's always really cool to see.
That's pretty cool. I was curious. I had, I think, 2 more things to ask both of you. But in this COVID era that we're in right now, how have things changed when it comes to meetings and how you guys interact and communicate with each other between different members?
So our national council has pretty much enacted that we are not to meet in person unless it is deemed essential service by our director of bands. So all of our meetings used to be in person. Now we have Zoom meetings. Any service has to, we have to ask our director of bands to do it. So if we wanted to clean our seat covers, we'd have to call up our DOB and say, hey, we think this is essential because they'll get super moldy if we do not do this right now. But it's made sisterhood a lot harder just to have everyone motivated and get that spirit to we're in a pandemic, but go band.
Yeah, we're definitely trying our best to make the most of our situation, especially a lot of credit can be given to our directors of athletic bands, our marching band director, Amy Knops. She's worked her tail off to make the season actually give us a season. And I'm sure, obviously, other schools like trying just the same, if assuming they even have a football season, because we're lucky enough that the SEC continued and enacted a lot of restrictions to keep us safe still.
So the last thing that I have for both of you is, for those that might be interested in joining Tau Beta Sigma in the future, what are some of the things that both of you enjoy most about being part of it, and what would you say to someone that would be interested in it? Why should they join Tau Beta Sigma?
One of the things I really love about it is just the spirit. No matter what, my sisters, the people in TBS, they're here for it. Rain or shine, they are the people you can lean on. And I know that it's such a diverse group that 10 years later, I'm going to be able to call them up and ask for like their completely different skill set. It's just, I would probably have never talked to some of these people if it weren't for TBS, and I've made lifelong friendships because of it.
Yeah, same here. It's really something special. I guess for similar reasons to joining, typical social fraternities or sororities, we really have our little community. And for me, I had not, I didn't know very many people going into Mizzou. And then our first band camp freshman year, my section made up like instant best friends going into freshman year, and like my own sense of my own little family like immediately. And Tau Beta just kind of enhanced that further, where I get this whole other group that's outside of my section, like kind of have a different side of things, not only serving the band and the School of Music, but like getting to make all these new interpersonal relationships and friendships. It's really awesome.
Well, before I say, first off, I want to say thank you to both of you for coming on. It's been really, really interesting to kind of hear how Tau Beta Sigma works, and I'm sure that all of our listeners and viewers have really enjoyed this conversation. But before you guys leave, if you want to plug anything in terms of your specific Tau Beta Sigma chapter, please do.
You can follow the Psi chapter at TB_Sigma_ on Twitter and Instagram, and I think our Facebook too.
So Mizzou Tau Beta it's just MU Tau Beta.
Perfect.
It's as simple as that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Andrew and Alyssa, for coming on. And now we're going to go into our college football picks for week 7. So stay tuned. You're going to love them. And welcome back to our week 7 college football pick segment. Just to preface this, me and Jason were 3 for 4 last week. So all y'all are slacking. We're currently at the top of the leaderboard.
I'm just going to call out Miami for letting me down
Yeah,
there.
Craig and I both took it.
Like Miami, you really hurt me there, buddy.
Thanks, UNC.
Hurricane did not beat a tiger in a fight, and I'm just disappointed.
But like technically an actual hurricane would kill a tiger quite easily.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know,
That's how
though.
I picked.
So right now the scoreboard is, I think me and Jason have 3. And I don't know, is it 2 people are tied for 2, 2 people are tied for 1? Is that how it is?
Savannah, Annabelle, and I are all tied with 2. Craig is bringing up the rear with 1 victory.
That is.
But all I'm saying is this is like golf, right? You want the lowest score?
No, that's not how it works.
If that helps,
That's not how it works. But Craig,
okay.
You can redeem yourself this week because we do have 7 matchups to talk about instead of 4.
All right, here we go. I'm getting all 7.
We're gonna start off with the now unranked LSU Tigers at number 10 Florida. I'm going to start with Jason on this one. Jason, who do you think is going to win this matchup between the Tigers and the Gators?
I was actually very impressed with Florida last week against A&M, so I'm going to go with Florida.
All right. Savannah, who do you have?
I think I'm going to go with Florida. I didn't pick them last week. LSU is kind of on that downward trend. I think that they will not win this one, so I'm going to pick Florida.
All right. Craig, who do you have?
So I am going to pick LSU for this one. They just lost to Mizzou, so they're angry, they're pissed off, and they've got that chip on their shoulder now. They want to win. I think they're going to bring it. Florida is a good team, so it should be a really good game, but I think LSU bringing the fire. I think they're gonna get the dub.
Hannah.
I'm also going to go with LSU. And while they don't do it anymore, they used to play a really spicy version of neck. And that's 100% of the reason I am picking them.
It's a good reason. Annabelle, who do you have?
So normally I would pick Florida, but I think Craig has a very good point. And I do feel a little bit bad for their team because they must be very, very depressed right now. So
I am going to go with Florida because LSU has been terrible this year after winning the national championship. I don't know if there is such a thing as a national championship slump, but they have not looked good this year, and I'm going to go with Florida. Next matchup, we have number 11 Texas A&M coming off of that top 5 win against Florida, now up to 11 in the poll. At Mississippi State. We will go Savannah. Who do you have in this matchup between the Aggies and the Dogs?
So I'm gonna pick Texas A&M this week.
She's going against the Dogs.
Yeah, I'm going against the Dogs this time. But here's the thing: Mike Leach, who I talk about all the time, used to coach the Washington State Cougars. That's my rival team. That's really the only logic I have about it. I'm not gonna pick Mississippi State, obviously, so I'll pick Texas A&M.
Mike Leach, weird guy. Craig,
He's a pirate.
Who do you have?
I'm gonna go for A&M. I know early on, I was not impressed by really any of the teams from Texas, but A&M, I was expecting them to kind of get destroyed this past weekend, and they proved me wrong. So maybe they've got a little more fight than I was giving them credit for. So because of that, I'm gonna pick A&M this week.
All right, Hannah.
I'm also going to go with A&M because I picked against them last week and then looked like a clown. So A&M.
Annabelle.
I'm also going to go Texas A&M.
All right. Jason.
Me too. Giga Maggies.
I am also going to go with A&M. Kellen Bond looked really good in that game, and that was a very impressive win, fans or not fans. It was a very impressive win against a very good Florida team. Oof. Next matchup, we're going down to Miami. It is Pitt against number 13 Miami after losing to Clemson last week, but everyone kind of, except for some people, decided to choose Miami. Clemson basically steamrolled them. So, Craig, who do you have in this matchup between the Hurricanes and the Panthers?
Well, I have friends who went to Pitt. I think that, they're really nice people, but they're not known to be a football school. Sure, Miami did let me down last week real bad, but I have faith. I have faith that, the turnover chain's going to come out a few times, and that we're gonna get that dub. We're going to get that dub this week. Let's go Miami.
Hannah, who do you have?
Like Craig, I got my feelings hurt by Miami last weekend. I also, you know how I feel about the Panthers of any variety, so I'm going to go with Pitt.
Ooh. Surprise pick, it seems like. Annabelle, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Miami.
All right. Jason.
I am also going to go with Miami.
All right. And Savannah.
I'm going with Miami.
It seems to be the consensus pick. I'm gonna agree.
You guys are all gonna be wrong.
Yeah. I mean that might happen. Pitt looked really good at the start of the year. It kind of fell off, and I mean Miami's still a good team. It's not like
losing to Trevor Lawrence and Clemson's not really doesn't make you a bad team.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not like they lost to a bad team. Like Clemson's literally the best team in college football and probably the best team in college football over the last 5 years. So
they're pretty good.
No, Panthers. Go Cats.
Go Canes.
Come on, Pitt, don't let Hannah down.
Always got to go with the U. Never doubt the U. We will go to our next matchup. We are going to the American Athletic Conference now for a matchup between number 8 Cincinnati. The Bearcats are back in the top 10 for the first time in at least a decade against Tulsa, who I believe are the Golden Hurricanes. So we have 2 Hurricanes here. Hannah, we're going to start off with you. Who are you picking in this matchup between the Bearcats and the Golden Hurricanes?
A bear? I don't know what a Bearcat is, but it sounds impressive, so I'm going with the Bearcats.
Annabelle.
I'm going to go with Tulsa, just because I like their uniforms a little bit better than the Cincinnati
All right.
ones.
Jason.
I don't really know much about these two schools or their bands, unfortunately. But Cincinnati did come to my high school for a recruitment thing, so I'm going to go with Cincinnati.
All right. I like the logic. Savannah.
I don't really know very much about these programs right now, but I'm going to pick Cincinnati, just a gut feeling.
All right. And Craig.
Yeah, I mean, like everyone else, I really don't know about Cincinnati or Tulsa. I know Cincinnati's been like, from what I've seen, it's kind of been a Cinderella season, so I'm thinking that...
Don't you mean a Cinderella season?
Stop.
Jason,
Jason,
get off the call.
Then I'm gonna change my vote.
Well, I'm gonna go with Cincinnati.
Annabelle,
I think they're gonna surprise a lot of people this year.
So wait, is that an official vote change for Annabelle? Is she going with Cincinnati
Yeah.
now? All right,
I
she's going with
I
Cincinnati.
gotta root for the Disney princess.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I am also going to ride the Cincinnati bandwagon. Cincinnati's been a good team. They've been a perennially good team for the last few years. And I'm going to say Cincy's going to take it. We have two more before a big talk about Georgia and Bama. We are going to the Big 12 now with number 7 Oklahoma State back from a bye week at Baylor.
In the midst of making our picks for this game, word came through that the Baylor-Oklahoma State game had been canceled due to a COVID-19 outbreak in the Baylor football team. We wish everyone a speedy recovery, and we look forward to bringing you the pick later in the season.
Another game in the American. We are going to Memphis, and we are going to be talking about the UCF Knights and the Memphis Tigers. So, Jason, we'll start off with you again. Who do you have in this matchup between the Knights and the Tigers?
I'm going to go with Memphis for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think we were supposed to play them this season. And second of all, last year we did these really cool uniforms for homecoming, and they were space-themed. And then the entire UCF fan base just had an absolute we're just going crazy. They were they were just not happy with us. So I'm going Memphis.
Savannah.
I want to pick UCF. Two of my favorite Seahawks players, Shaquille and Shaquem Griffin, went to UCF. So I think they'll win this week.
I like that. Both really good. I respect that. Craig, who do you have?
I think UCF is a dominant force, I mean, they're not the national championship team that they were a couple years ago, but they're still quite a force. I think they're going to take the dub here. They're going to win. They're going to get it.
Hannah.
They're going to get that bread.
I'm actually going to go with UCF because when I did my Disney college program, a lot of people who don't go back to their colleges try and get in and go to school there. So I know some people who go there. So UCF.
And Annabelle.
I'm gonna go with Memphis because they're Tigers. Rawr.
I like
Play Tiger Rag.
How many teams are the Tigers? How many?
Too many.
Not enough, Craig.
Too many.
Not enough.
At least
We may or may not find that out
They're just the
during this
best.
episode. I cannot go against the national champions. I don't care if they won it 3 years ago. They're still the national champions because, memes. So go UCF. Which leads us to our final matchup of this week. The number 3 Georgia at number 2 Alabama, which should be a heavy-hitting, crazy matchup. Savannah, we're going to start with you. Who do you have in this matchup between the Dogs and the Tide?
So I'm pretty sure this is not a surprise, but I'm picking the Dogs. I'm picking Georgia. Steve Sarkisian at Alabama, their offensive coordinator, used to be the UW head coach. And it hurts, it stings to see somebody level up after they leave your program. So I'm picking Georgia.
Craig.
I am also going to pick Georgia for this one. I think, Alabama's obviously a good team. I mean, they're ranked number 2. But I think they're not the Alabama of, a couple years ago when they were winning national championships. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say they're on the decline, but they're just not where they were. Whereas I've been nothing but impressed with Georgia. So that being the case, go Dogs.
Their version of a decline is like a 2-loss season.
Yeah.
If only, right? All right, Hannah, who do you have?
I'm going to go with Georgia just for fun.
I like that.
Go Dogs.
Annabelle.
I'm also gonna go with Georgia because also like what Craig said, whenever we played them, as we played them a couple weeks ago, we kind of held them unexpectedly in the first half, and that was kind of surprising for who they claim to be. And also, I really really like Georgia. If I were to go to any other SEC school, I'd definitely go to Georgia. and they have a really cute band. And I
Red
like their
Code
clarinet
Band.
section, so shout out to them.
Shout out to the Georgia Clarinets. I'm also gonna go with Georgia. So
Ooh, man.
yeah. But I do have a fun fact for this
Fun
time.
fact.
Fun fact: Georgia and Alabama have the same alma mater tune, but they also share it with Annabelle's school.
That's
Mizzou.
cool. Fun
Top
facts
3
with Jason.
schools right there.
Mizzou. That's three out of many.
Fun facts with Jason always. I'm going to be the dissenting opinion here. Najee Harris absolutely torched Ole Miss's defense. But, like, Alabama's that much better. Their offense is just so stacked. And, like, they don't even need to have, like, a good quarterback to be good. So
Georgia's defense is like also very stacked though, so it's going to be interesting if
Yeah,
that's going to be
it's
actually
gonna
Yeah,
be
a
that
so-
low-scoring
offense
game.
versus the defense
Oh,
is
it's
Are we
going to
going to see
be.
a
very
low-scoring
close-
SEC game this week?
it's going to be a very close game. It's just, like, my heart says Georgia. But, like, logically speaking, I'm going to go with Bama.
No one ever says follow your brain. They say follow your heart.
That's very
But
true.
like, if I win, that means I'm the only one who picked Bama. So like, I get that over all of you guys.
You're
Yeah,
already
but then you
like
have to
leading
pick
though.
Bama.
No, I don't care.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah,
win.
is it really a victory if you're picking Bama?
No.
Right.
Dogs
Capacity,
travel
it's like
well.
30K.
Elephants do not.
I mean,
Annabelle's logic is sound here.
Yeah.
Going with that.
All right, so those were our picks for this week. Stay tuned for a lot of fun college football action. It should be very exciting, especially the Georgia Bama game. I'm sure we're all excited about that, but I think that pretty much wraps it up for episode 2. So thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for all of the support for episode 1. We really appreciated it, everyone who listened. Where can people find College Band Radio again?
You can find College Band Radio on Instagram at College Band Radio and on Twitter at College Band RDO because, as I said last time, radio is one letter too long for requirements. So hit us up there. We have lots of fun clips and stuff throughout the week.
So yeah, you can find us there, all of our social media accounts, and also on YouTube. Just look up College Band Radio. We'll be there as well. So from all of us, stay safe, stay healthy, please wear a mask, and we will talk to you guys again next week for episode 3.